Hi, in this video we will walk through the process of creating a concept with business rules, or as we call it in Timbr, business logic. This business logic enables us to apply rules and conditions in order to create classifications of our business concepts. By adding business logic to concepts, we remove the complexity of adding ad hoc conditions to define classifications in the data, and users can consume the data seamlessly for exploration, discovery, or just easily query the concepts while the rules are already applied. Logic can be added to any concept that is not a first-level concept, meaning it does not inherit from our base concept thing. To add logic, a concept needs to be a subconcept of a concept we want to apply the conditions on. To explain this better, we'll create a classified concept in the model and add the business logic to it. So let's take our person concept, for example, which contains information about people of all ages. Let's assume this is a telecommunications use case where we need to analyze data of calls made by both children and adults. Querying all the person data and having to add filters later is not the ideal way to go about understanding and analyzing our data, especially in scenarios where the conditions are more complex. Instead, creating classified concepts of person, such as adult and minor, would be the best practice moving forward. This way, users can directly query the desired entity or classification of the entity seamlessly. As mentioned in previous videos, the entire modeling and mapping creation, which includes adding business logic, can be done using SQL statements. However, in this video, we will walk through the visual method of adding business logic. Great. So let's create a logical concept called adult with business logic, which will inherit from concept person, as an adult is a type of person. Till now, in previous videos, we've created first layer concepts inheriting directly from concept thing, the root of the model. Now, we'll create our first logical concept. One way to create a classification concept is by clicking on Create and selecting New Concept. In the Create Concept window that appears, we can change the inheritance so that instead of the concept inheriting from thing, it can instead inherit from a different concept, in this example, concept person. Once chosen, the new concept will inherit all the properties and relationships, as well as the primary key and entity labels from its parent concept. We'd of course go on to add logic and finish creating the concept, though we will now show the second way to create a logical concept. The second way is by simply right-clicking on the concept we want to create a classification for, which again would be person. We'll hover over Create and select Child Concept. Here, in the Create Concept window that appears, we don't need to manually change the inheritance like we did in the first method, as we entered this Create window directly from the concept we wanted to classify, concept person. Here too, the properties, relationships, primary key and entity labels are already in place, inheriting from concept person above. The only thing missing is the concept name and description. We'll call this concept adult, and let's add a description. We'll say information about adults, including name, age, and number. At this stage, we'll click on the Logic tab to define the business logic. In this window, we'll choose our concept person, as that will be the concept we apply our conditions on. Now let's simply click on Add Filter and define the logic. Let's decide that in our use case, adults are individuals 18 years or older. To define the logic, we'll choose the property age is greater or equal to 18. We can of course add as many filters as we'd like to define a more complex logic, both visually as well as in SQL. We'll do that by clicking on the toggle on the left. Now that we've finished defining our logic, let's click on Add New Concept and we're done. To validate our logical condition, we can fetch sample data and see that all the records that appear in the results are of adults who are 18 years or older, as we can see here. In some cases, however, we would like to create multiple classifications of a concept. To do so, we will right-click on the concept we wish to classify, in this case concept contract, and go to Create Concepts from Property. Timbr will now show us the available properties we can choose to apply the condition on. Once chosen, Timbr will automatically load the distinct values of the property and allow us to choose which values we want to include or exclude in the concept classification. Once chosen, the next step will be to define the names of the concepts by either adding a bulk suffix or prefix to the values, or by manually changing the concept names one by one to represent the semantic meaning given by the users. Finally, we'll click on Save, and there we have it. Our new classifications have been added to the model. At any time, we can open the Concept Information panel, go to the Logic tab, and see the conditions that were applied to define the business logic on the concept.